The dominoes have fallen. Franklin has been out at Penn State for a while now and already landed at Virginia Tech. Napier is gone in Gainesville. And Lane Kiffin, he just accepted the LSU job. But while everyone is obsessed with who's standing on the sideline, the real story is the mass exodus about to happen on the field. We aren't just looking at coaching changes, we're looking at a roster liquidation sale. Today we're using the new 2025 roster data to predict exactly which star players are leaving, where they're going, and who's about to get stripped for parts. This isn't speculation anymore. This is survival. Here's what nobody's telling you about this coaching carousel. It's not a 30-day window anymore. It's a 15-day speed dating period. And if you're not moving fast, you're getting left behind. This specific offseason just became the most volatile in NCAA history. Why? Because we just watched 7 major programs flip coaches in 48 hours, including John Sumrall to Florida, Alex Golesh to Auburn, and a couple weeks ago, James Franklin signed with Virginia Tech. But even crazier is Lane Kiffin leaving a playoff team at Ole Miss for LSU. This is new territory. When this many programs are hunting simultaneously, the feeding frenzy gets ugly fast. The old rules are dead. Loyalty is dead. And if you think your favorite players are safe just because they've been committed for 2 years, you're about to get a reality check that'll hurt worse than watching your team blow a 28-point lead. Let's start with the biggest domino. Lane Kiffin to LSU isn't a rumor anymore. It's done. Signed, sealed, delivered. And the Ole Miss roster raid is about to begin. This is what I call the Fish effect on steroids. Remember when Jedd Fisch moved from Arizona to Washington? Half the Arizona roster followed him to Seattle. Williams, Jonah Coleman, they didn't transfer for Washington. They transferred for Fisch. Kiffin's about to do the same thing to Ole Miss, except he's got LSU's NIL budget backing him. The primary target? Caden Lee. Ole Miss's wide receiver one is already getting calls from Baton Rouge. He knows Kiffin's system inside and out. He's got the speed to stretch defenses in the SEC. And LSU desperately needs a receiver who can step in day one and be the guy. But here's where it gets interesting. Garrett Nussmeier just became a victim of his own team's coaching hire. Nussmeier is a pro-style pocket passer. Clean footwork, great arm, loves those 15-yard comeback routes. Problem is, Kiffin doesn't run a pro-style offense. He runs RPO chaos with mobile quarterbacks who can extend plays. Nussmeier doesn't fit that mold at all. So while LSU fans are celebrating landing the Portal King, they're about to watch their starting quarterback realize he's been replaced by a system that doesn't want him. And here's the belief-breaking truth nobody wants to admit. Landing a Portal King coach like Kiffin actually hurts your current roster retention. Fans think Kiffin saves the roster. But his arrival forces out the current LSU cultural pillars who don't fit his mercenary style. The Weeks brothers on defense? They're old-school LSU guys who believe in development and loyalty. That's not Kiffin's brand. Kiffin's bringing his own guys. And if you're not one of his guys, you better start looking for a new home. While LSU is importing Kiffin's offense, Penn State just lost everything. Firing James Franklin didn't just remove him from the staff. He took the entire recruiting infrastructure with him. Let's talk about Drew Aller. 6 months ago, he was a potential first-round pick. Today, he's a quarterback without a coach who understands his skill set. Aller isn't an NFL draft lock anymore. He's damaged goods. The Oregon game exposed everything wrong with his development. Great arm, perfect size, but his decision-making under pressure is still stuck in high school. Franklin was the one coach who believed in Aller's potential. Now Franklin's in Blacksburg, and Aller's stuck in State College with whoever Penn State hires next. Spoiler alert, it's probably going to be a defensive coordinator who wants to run the ball and play it safe. That's the opposite of what Aller needs. So Aller's leaving. And when he goes, he's taking half the offense with him. Franklin's biggest strength was keeping Pennsylvania kids home. Tony Rojas, the linebacker from Pittsburgh, he's been solid for 3 years, but now Ohio State and Michigan are circling like vultures. Quinton Martin, the running back from Philly, same story. Without Franklin's recruiting relationships, Penn State becomes just another Big Ten program fighting for scraps. And here's the belief-breaking point. Drew Aller leaving is actually the best-case scenario for Penn State. It forces a hard reset instead of a lingering what-if year. Sometimes you have to tear the house down to fix the foundation. Aller staying would just delay the inevitable rebuild by a year. Better to rip the Band-Aid off now and start fresh than pretend everything's fine while the program slowly bleeds out. Penn State is losing everything, but down south, 2 programs just made franchise-saving hires. Florida and Auburn weren't trying to win press conferences. They were trying to keep two specific humans on campus, DJ Lagway and Cam Coleman. And they nailed it. Let's start with John Sumrall at Florida. This hire is genius for one reason. Sumrall knows how to win and win quickly. Tulane won 2 conference titles in his 4 years there. He also runs a modern offense, and most importantly, he doesn't panic when young quarterbacks make mistakes. DJ Lagway just went from probably transferring to definitely staying. Sumrall's system is perfect for Lagway's skill set. Mobile quarterbacks who can make plays with their arm and their legs, that's Sumrall's specialty. The Eugene-Wilson connection matters too. Lagway and Wilson are a package deal, and now they both have a reason to stay. Sumrall's offense will get them both noticed by NFL scouts. Now let's talk about the Alex Golesh hire at Auburn. This might be the best coaching hire of the entire cycle. Cam Coleman just went from probably transferring to Alabama to definitely staying on the Plains. Golesh's system at South Florida produced some of the best receiver numbers in the country. His offense gets receivers noticed. It puts up stats. It develops guys for the NFL. Coleman is a freak athlete. 6'4", runs a 4.4, hands like glue. In Golesh's system, he's going to put up video game numbers. Auburn just went from disaster to dark horse in one hire. And it's all because they understood what their franchise player needed. Lagway and Coleman are staying, but the mercenary programs are still imploding. Ole Miss is about to get stripped for parts. These players didn't transfer for the University of Mississippi. They transferred for Lane Kiffin, and Kiffin just took his talents to Baton Rouge. But here is the plot twist nobody saw coming. Kiffin wanted to bring his defensive mastermind Pete Golding with him to Baton Rouge. It would have been the death blow to the Rebels, but Ole Miss didn't blink. They just named Pete Golding the head coach. They promoted him for one reason: survival. They are desperate to keep that defensive line from jumping in the car with Kiffin. So now we have a civil war. It's Kiffin versus Golding, the mentor versus the student. Kiffin is going to try to raid the offensive closet, taking guys like Caden Lee, while Golding tries to build a wall around the defense. If you're an Ole Miss offensive player, you're leaving for LSU. If you're on defense, you're staying for Golding. The roster is literally splitting in half. Imagine losing your head coach, your defensive coordinator, and your top 5 pass rushers in the same week. That's not a rebuild. That's a program implosion. Arkansas got Ryan Silverfield from Memphis. Solid hire. But it doesn't solve the Luke Haas problem. Haas already tested the portal waters last year. With Sam Pittman gone, the only thing keeping him in Fayetteville was loyalty to the coaching staff. That staff is gone, and Silverfield runs a completely different offensive system than what Haas was recruited for. Haas is transferring, probably to Georgia or Iowa, somewhere that actually uses tight ends in the NFL. Oklahoma State got Eric Morris from North Texas. Morris is a good coach, but he's inheriting a program in free fall. Ollie Gordon declared for the NFL. The offensive line is transferring, and the young defensive backs are tired of getting torched every week. David Kabongo and the other young DBs, they're gone, probably to contenders who need secondary help. Here's the belief-breaking truth. Transfer-heavy teams implode faster than development teams. A team of mercenaries has no locker room culture to fall back on during coaching changes. It's strictly business. And when business gets uncertain, mercenaries find new employers. So looking at all the coaching moves, who are the locks to leave? Let me break this down into tiers. Tier 1, the superstars who are staying, DJ Lagway and Cam Coleman. The Sumrall and Golesh hires saved both franchises. These guys are locked in now. Tier 2, the definite departures. Drew Aller is transferring to an ACC school where he can rebuild his draft stock. Luke Haas is gone, probably to Oklahoma or Georgia. Caden Lee is following Kiffin to LSU. Tier 3, the wildcards, the Weeks brothers at LSU. If Kiffin keeps some of the defensive staff, they might stay. If he cleans house completely, they're transferring to a program that values development over flash. But here's what everyone's missing. The most impactful transfers are happening at the programs that made bad hires or no hires yet. Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, and Arkansas are about to lose players to programs that got their coaching situations right. Michigan State just ripped off the Band-Aid and officially hired Pat Fitzgerald. That's a program stuck in 1995 trying to compete in 2025. Any talented players there are looking for exits. These aren't household names, but they're going to change the power balance in 2025. The coaching carousel is slowing down, but the player movement is just getting started. Florida and Auburn saved their franchises with smart hires. LSU is about to raid Ole Miss. Penn State is starting over from scratch. The programs that understood the new rules, hire coaches who fit your best players, are going to thrive. The programs that didn't, they're about to find out how brutal the portal era can be. I want your prediction in the comments. Which Ole Miss players follow Kiffin to LSU? And where does Drew Aller end up rebuilding his career? The official transfer portal window doesn't open for the rest of the country until January 2nd. But remember the new rule the NCAA passed in October. If your team has a coaching change, you don't have to wait for January. Your specific 15-day window triggers 5 days after the new coach is hired. With Kiffin, Sumrall, and Golesh officially announced, that countdown clock has started. While the rest of college football is waiting for the new year, the stars at LSU, Florida, and Auburn are about to hit the open market this week. And if you want to understand why smart coaching hires matter more than ever in the portal era, check out the video I'm dropping next week, because the programs that figured this out are about to dominate the next 5 years.